What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel, Real Talk Recovery, where we talk about recovery from addiction and I share my life with you. My name is Nicole and I'm an addict, and my sobriety date is July 13th of 2015, and I am a grateful recovering addict. I'm super grateful today, you guys. I feel happy today. I'm having a good day. Yesterday, I was struggling a little bit. I was hitting a little bit of a depression wall, and I'm sure you guys can relate to that. It happens sometimes, you know? So, anyways, what I thought we could do today, what I'll do is I'll wait for you guys to get in here. So, come on in, everybody. Come on in. Come on in. Take a seat. Greet your neighbor. And I'm going to set up the Facebook over here. So, welcome to everybody that's watching on Facebook. Thanks for tuning in and hanging out with me tonight. I hope you guys enjoy the show. So, all right, there we go. Okay, cool deal. So, hey, Avery. Hey, Misty. Hey, Alicia. Hey, Julia. What's up, everybody? So, what's up, Dwight? All right, you guys, we're going to do something new today. So, normally, what we do on these recovery support group meetings is every single night we have been going live at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we have been doing just different recovery topics, right? Anybody can share. In fact, I've been doing it to where I've been dropping links in the chat, so that way if you wanted to come up and share, you can come up and share. It's been really, really interactive, and it's been a lot of fun. But tonight I thought we could change it up a little bit. So I hope you guys don't mind. I thought, because we have a bunch of new people that have found the channel. So welcome to everybody that is new here on my channel. Thank you so much for subscribing and joining the Real Talk Recovery family. I really, really appreciate it a lot. Hey, Jessica, what's up, girl? Welcome. Welcome, everybody that's tuning in on Facebook and everybody that's tuning in on YouTube. I really appreciate all you guys' support. And I thought what we could do today is I could share with you guys my story and how I got sober from the very beginning. Okay. And so let me tell you what inspired this idea, because I haven't done this in a really long time. Like, I share a lot about my life every day. I just share things that I'm going through all the time, right? But I haven't sat down and shared my recovery story in over a year, I think. So I watch a lot of prison YouTube channels. Y'all know I love them prison YouTube channels. And I've been watching Lockdown 23 and 1. And the guy who runs that channel, his name is Death. His real name's Josh, but he goes by Death. And he's been doing his life story. And it's so far he has done 2 parts. And it was so interesting. And I could relate so much to his story. And I thought, man, whenever I watch someone else's story and I hear them share what they went through, it feels like I know them. And so I want you guys to know me. Y'all are here on my channel. Y'all have supported me. And so I want all of you guys to get to know me better. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to share with you guys from the beginning everything. I'm going to share with you guys the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I hope that, somebody, if you need to hear this message tonight, I hope that it helps you, and I hope it encourages you, and I hope that you know that you're not alone. Okay, so yeah, everybody come on in, have a seat. Like I said, if you want to, drop your sobriety date, so that way you can inspire some other people that maybe they're in the comments and they're struggling and they feel like they aren't going to be able to get sober. They'll see your sobriety date and they'll say, you know what? If Christina can do it, I can do it. If Misty can do it, I can do it. If Jessica can do it, I can do it. So let's help each other. And while I'm telling the story, feel free to chat and talk with each other and get to know each other. Like, that's what this whole channel is for. It's for recovery support. It's to help you guys, and it helps me too. So just so you know, it helps me every single day, you guys, that I can come on here and I can be of service. It helps me stay sober. So thank you for letting me be of service, and thank you for letting me share my story, and thank you for sitting here with me and listening. All right. All right. Let's do this. Y'all ready? Y'all ready to hear about what little baby Nicole was like? I hope y'all are ready because it's going to be on and popping. So, first of all, what we're going to do is I'm going to take you guys back to 1982. All right. 1982 was the year that I was born. And you might think that this little chicken nugget right here was born in the South. But my, honey, you are wrong. I was born in Long Island, New York. That's right. Long Island, New York. My mom told me that it was a cold, blistery night, 9 p.m. Okay. It was blizzarding outside, snowing like cats and dogs. And my mom said she started to feel like she was going into labor. So she woke my dad up, said, "Come on, we got to go to the hospital." So they drove down to the hospital, and a couple hours later, I popped out like a cinnamon roll, fresh out of the oven, hot, hot and ready to go. And I'll show you guys what I popped out looking like. There's baby Nicole right there. Baby Nicole, that's me. Here's baby Nicole right here. Popped right out with a mohawk, full head of hair. Did y'all enjoy that right there? Full head of hair, little chicken nugget right there. Look at that little face. Look at that face. Anyway, I had to show y'all that. So I was born in New York, okay? But obviously, from the sound of my accent, you guys can tell that I was not raised in New York, okay? So my mom and dad were living with my grandmother, okay? And I talked to you guys about my grandmother the other night. My grandmother's very sick. We just found out that she has cancer. So, y'all, please pray for her. My dad is really having a hard time because, he's the oldest. It's just him and his brother and his mom. And so he's just going through a hard time with that. You know what I mean? So, my mom and dad were living with my grandmother, and my dad was working for the postal service. Now, one thing you guys are going to hear about in my story is that my dad was a workaholic, and he ingrained that work ethic into me. He was like telling me every day from the time I popped out of my mom's belly, he was putting me to work or telling me how to work. He did not mess around. And I learned that hustling, hard work ethic from him. So my dad worked for the postal service, and my mom and him were living in my grandmother's basement, and they just weren't happy living there. They wanted to start their own family, and they wanted to have their own home, right? And so let me back it up and tell y'all a little bit about my mom and dad. All right, my mother is Mexican and my dad is Italian, and my mom is from California. My dad is from New York. My mom had to learn how to speak English because Spanish, you guys, was her first language. So when my mom and dad met, they met in the Air Force. Okay, they were both stationed to Jacksonville Air Force Base, which is here in Arkansas. And my mom and my dad were fighting over pizza. That's right, they were fighting over pizza, y'all. I told y'all I like to eat. And you wonder where I got that trait from? I got it from my mama. I got it from my daddy. We like to eat, okay? Half Mexican, half Italian here, and I know good food when I see it, and I'm not afraid to eat it. Obviously. So they were fighting over the last piece of pizza, you guys. And I think my dad just fell in love because he found him a woman that could eat like he could. And so they started dating, and they never separated since. And they've been together for over 50 years now. Okay. So they fell in love and ended up having me, and decided that they wanted to relocate here to Arkansas. Okay. That's how we got here in Arkansas. So they were stationed to Jacksonville when they were in the Air Force. That's how they even knew what Arkansas was, because who just picks Arkansas? Like, throw a dart at the map and it lands on Arkansas. So they moved us here to Arkansas. It was me, my mom, and my dad. Okay. None of my sisters had came yet. And so let me tell y'all, as a little girl, I think I've shared this with you guys before. My dad wasn't a very religious person, but my mother had a very strong faith. And so when we were growing up, my mom raised me and my sisters up Pentecostal. Okay. So we didn't cut our hair. We weren't allowed to wear makeup. We couldn't pierce our earrings. We had to wear shirts that were past our elbows. We had to wear long dresses, no pants. So, as you can probably imagine, like, it was really strict in that aspect, no secular music, only gospel and church music. Um, there was a lot of revivals. There was a lot of sleeping under the pew, like I was raised up in the church. Okay. So we moved down here to Arkansas, and shortly after we moved down here, my sister Michelle was born. Now, you guys have heard me talk about my sister because she is like my ride or die. Okay. Me and my sister Michelle, we ran through, we went through it together. We're both recovering addicts. Okay. But I'll tell you guys more about how we both got into our addiction a little bit farther down the line. Okay. So my sister was born. I am 38 years old, and my sister Michelle is 36, about to be 37. So we're like 15 to 18 months apart. We're very, very close together. And then after my sister was born, my sister Christine came. So now you got triple trouble, the DeMayo sisters, Nicole, Michelle, and Christine. Okay, so my mother was a stay-at-home mom, and my dad was working for the Postal Service. Okay, he had transferred down from New York to Arkansas and was working as a clerk. Okay, so what you do when you're a postal clerk is you sort the mail as it comes in, okay, and put it in the right area, and that's what he would do. And a lot of the times that he worked, you guys, were late nights. Okay, my dad worked a lot of hours. He worked to the point where I remember being a little girl and wanting my dad to be around more. And please don't take this like I'm not like I love my dad. My dad was an amazing, amazing dad. He was the best dad that I could have ever had. You know, I just remember being young and wanting my dad around more, wishing that I had more time to spend with him. And that was at a young age. I remember that. Okay. So he was working all the time. He ended up getting a promotion to a mail carrier. So he started walking his routes, which was awesome because, when you work for the government as a postal, in the post office, it's a good paying job. And so getting that raise and moving up to that position, my dad was able to provide and take care of, three daughters. Okay. And so my mom and dad had us three girls, and it was hard, you guys. We weren't rich, okay? My dad worked really hard to take care of me and my sisters and to provide everything that we needed, okay? My mom would sew our clothes a lot because at this time we were still wearing dresses. We couldn't wear pants. And so my mom would sew us little dresses and make matching little hair tie thingies. And I just want you guys to picture in your mind, close your eyes right now, okay? Three little tan girls with long dark hair. My hair was down past my bottom. And my mom would take my hair and put it in these little pigtails like this. And I went everywhere in these pigtails. Okay? And that's how me and my sister Michelle were. Now, my sister Christine, for some reason, my baby sister Christine, she watched me and my sister Michelle do everything. So she didn't rush to get up and start walking. She didn't rush to start talking. She just sat back and chilled and watched me and Michelle do everything. Okay. I remember when Christine was little, she had the shortest hair, and everybody would think she was a little boy. Because if y'all want to know the truth, my mom had told me and my sisters that we weren't supposed to be girls. We were supposed to be Nicholas, Michael, and Christopher. My dad wanted boys. He wanted to have a boy so bad, but he ended up with Nicole, Michelle, and Christine. And let me tell y'all, I know that he's probably saying, damn, three girls. Can you imagine being young, fresh out of the Air Force, you and your wife are in a new state. You don't know anybody, right? And you got three girls. Now, it's really important for you guys to know my dad he's an Italian guy. He's real like everything is like this way or the highway. And that's how he raised me up. He was super strict with me and my sisters. Like, you didn't talk back. If you talked back, you got whooped with the belt. So there was no playing games. Okay. So growing up, my first memories growing up with all my sisters at a young age was of us playing in our playroom. Okay, so we grew up in a house. We lived there for over 27 years, the same house. Okay, and my mom and dad had converted our carport into an extra room. And so this extra room had all of our toys in it, you guys. I mean, toys from the top to the bottom. And me and my sisters, we weren't the kind of girls that dressed up and like brushed our hair and put on little lipsticks. No, honey, we didn't do that. We got the pots and pans, put them on our heads. We set ourselves up with some battle stations. We ripped our Barbie dolls' heads off and we were going to war, beating each other with the Barbie doll legs and throwing heads across the living room. Me and my sisters were not girly girls. We were tomboys and we was crazy as hell. So you can probably imagine my poor mom and dad, they've got these wilding out, okay? Wilding out 3, 5, and 8, or 6 or 7, however old we were, because we were like almost 2 years apart, but not quite. Okay, so we would rip our Barbie dolls' heads off and beat each other over the heads with the legs. We would call it battle stations, a wooga, a wooga. I will never forget this, you guys, because I remember it. Another thing that my dad used to do that I remember and I will never forget is he used to sing these songs, okay? He would say, everybody's doing it, doing it, doing it, picking their nose and chewing it, chewing it. So you know what me and my little sisters would do? My mama would take us to the Walmart and we would be walking down the Walmart hall going, everybody's doing it, doing it, doing it, picking their nose and chewing it, chewing it. And then my dad would also say this. He would call anybody that smoked cigarettes a butt smoker. So I remember one thing in particular, right? I remember we were at a gas station. My dad had just bought this brand new Ford Bronco. Okay. It was like gold and navy blue. And it was a cool Bronco. Okay. This is back in the 90s, y'all, like the early 90s, maybe even the late 80s. And we were outside the Exxon gas station, and me, Michelle, and Christine were in the back seat with the windows rolled down. And all of a sudden, here comes this lady. She's walking out. She's smoking a cigarette. And my little sister says, I think it was Christine, or was it Christine or Michelle? I think it was Christine. She goes, hey, Mom, look at that butt smoker over there. My mom and dad were like, what? This is the kind of stuff that we would do. But it was because my dad taught it to us, you guys. Another thing that he would teach us how to do is we would just do the funniest things, okay? The funniest things. Another thing that we grew up doing, me and my sisters, is we would take our dirty underwears off and chase each other and try to shove them in each other's face. Now, growing up half Mexican and half Italian, my mom would speak Spanish to us, okay? But not enough to where we actually learned the language, and I'll tell you guys why that ended up happening. So growing up, my mom would tell us to go put our chonies, go get your chonies and put them in the dirty hamper. Quit chasing your sister around with those chonies. Oh no, ma'am. Me and my sisters, we would get each other and we would put chonies on each other's heads, and then we call each other chony heads, and we would chase each other's around acting like chony heads. Hey, Dwight, thanks for becoming a member. I thought you already were a member, Dwight. Well, welcome. So that we were having the chony head wars, you guys. So the reason why we never learned Spanish is because my dad is very much so like a leader, and he didn't want me and my sisters to be speaking Spanish and him not be able to understand it. And so we could have probably had, we could have probably been bilingual, but we ended up not being bilingual. So, anyways, that's how that happened. Now, sorry, I'm taking y'all back to the childhood because I want you guys to understand something, okay? I had a great childhood. My mom and dad loved me more than life itself. My sisters, amazing. We took good care of each other. I had a bond with my sisters, we were best friends, you guys, best friends. So that's why I'm sharing a lot about my childhood with you. I grew up, like I said, going to church. I grew up with my two sisters. I was the oldest, okay? And we were the Three Musketeers. When we would celebrate Christmas, we had amazing Christmases. My dad would go out of his way to make sure that he provided for us, that he bought me and my sisters exactly what we had asked for. I remember one of the first Christmases that I can remember getting something that was just like, wow. It was when Super Nintendo came out and we got Donkey Kong and Mario Brothers. And me and my sisters would stay up all night long playing Donkey Kong and Mario Brothers until our thumbs were sore, you know? We would stay up and sneak into the living room so we could watch Michael Jackson doing the moonwalk and dancing to Billie Jean, and Bad, and we would try to learn the moves together. Like me and my sisters we were together all the time. So as my life progressed, my dad is working a lot. My mom is a stay-at-home mom, and we started school. Okay. So I'm going to take you kind of quickly through the elementary school years because those years don't really, they matter, but they're not going to matter like my main years that I'm going to take you to. Okay. So when I started kindergarten, I can remember I was very scared. I was scared to, be without my mom. But I had an amazing kindergarten teacher, and I ended up, adapting pretty quickly, and everything worked out for the best. And I had a good first school year. Then, when I went into kindergarten, my sister Michelle started, or I went into first grade, my sister Michelle started kindergarten. So now I got my sister in school with me. Okay. And so that was something that was like, it was it was something that I'm so glad that I had, because me and my sisters were together all the time, and we were able to be in school and hang out and take up for each other if anything happened. And that's going to be part of the story that you're going to learn later on down the line. So keep your eyes open. What's up, Brandon? Y'all, Brandon became a member. Hell yeah. Thank you so much, Brandon. I appreciate that, baby. Check the community tab for the members only post. There is a link to our private Discord chat, and we're also going to have private live streams for just all of us members. Okay, so thanks, man. I appreciate you. So, so I'm in kindergarten, first grade. Now, the first thing that I can remember when I was a little girl in school was being different than everybody else. Okay. Like I was telling you guys, my mom is Mexican and my dad's Italian, and I grew up in a very country town. Okay. I grew up in a town called Hot Springs, Arkansas. And all the kids that I went to school with, except for like two black kids, were white. And that's really all the people that were around was white people. And like, when you're not white and you're brown and you're different, and other people don't know that you're different because you talk just like them, like if you didn't know that I was half Mexican, you would think I was white just by talking to me on the phone. So what would happen is a lot of the kids didn't understand. They didn't understand why I was brown and they weren't. And so what happened is a lot of the kids would make fun of me. They would call me taco and burrito, wetback, beaner, and that stuck with me. Okay. So from the very beginning of my school career, I started struggling with not fitting in. Okay. Not only did I struggle with, being different in that way, I also struggled with eating. Okay, so I talked to you guys about this last night and I got really, really emotional about it. But this is really important for me to share with you guys. And this is a very, very important part of my story. I have always struggled with overeating. I have always struggled with binge eating, and I've always struggled with my weight. My weight has always been it's always been something that my family focused on. Hey, Randy, thank you. We always, all my family, we always focused on that. And they didn't mean to do it to hurt me, but that was something that my dad did. That's something that my sisters did. Not so much my mom, but my dad. And my dad, I remember growing up, my dad worked out. My dad pumped iron, you guys. He didn't mess around. He would compete in competitions. He actually won the Malvern Brickfest one year for the highest weight bench pressed. So my dad he's not nobody to mess around with. I'll show you a picture of my dad when I was a little girl. I hope you guys can see that good. Let me show you guys here on Facebook. That's my dad when I was a little girl. And just so you guys know, I'm live over on YouTube at Real Talk Recovery if you want to come hang out with us. But so my dad always really was very self-conscious about his own weight. Okay. Hey, Leanne, love you, girl. My dad was always self-conscious about his own weight. So because he was self-conscious about his own weight, he projected that onto me and my sisters, right? And he also did it because he cared about us. And that was his way of showing that he cared. He wanted us to be healthy. He wanted us to be successful. He wanted to teach us that being healthy and staying in shape would help you in the long run. But his way of saying it was, you don't want to be fat. If you're fat, you're not going to find anybody that's going to want to marry you, girl. You need to get skinny and get in shape, and he didn't mean it in a bad way like that. I can't stress to you guys enough how much my dad means to me and how much everything that I've learned and the person that I have became is because of my dad. The reason why I'm such a hard worker is because of my dad. The reason why I'm so passionate is because of my dad. All of these characteristics that you see in me are a direct result of my father. I am my father's daughter. And my mom has said that all my life. Ever since I was a little girl, I've always been told that I'm my dad. And so growing up, my weight was always an issue, and it was always something that we talked about. We talked about all of our weights. My sisters, my mom, my dad would razz my mom about her weight because she also struggled with being a chunky soul sister. And so it was something that I knew that I struggled with from an early age. And that was something that I was very insecure about, and I was very embarrassed about my weight at a young age. So once all three of me and my sisters got into school, we were all really struggling with the fact that we had to wear dresses, that we couldn't wear pants, and that was just making it to where we didn't fit in even more, right? And so my mom ended up having a change of heart, and she ended up transitioning from Pentecostal, the religion that we were practicing, to a non-denominational religion where we were going to a Assembly of God style church. Okay. And so this church was awesome. We met our best friends there that we would end up going on vacations with and having stay the night parties and all kinds of fun stuff. Okay. So my mom and dad met David and Judy, and then they had two kids, Kristen and Justin. Okay, so me and Kristen ended up becoming best friends, and my baby sister Christine ended up becoming best friends with Justin. And we went and did everything with them. We went to church together, we sat together, we went to Branson, Missouri together, we went to trips, all over Arkansas together. We would stay the night. My parents would have we were nonstop together. We were inseparable, and it was so awesome because me and my sisters, we loved having like family to go hang out with, because one thing that we did not have was extended family here in Arkansas. Um, my grandmother and grandfather on my dad's side live in New York. My grandmother and grandfather and my cousins and aunts and uncles live in California. Okay. So I've never had like a grandma here in Arkansas that I could go over to and hang out. I never had like cousins or aunts and uncles that I could go kick it with here in Arkansas. It was always just me, my mom and dad, and my sisters. Okay, so I guess that's kind of important for you guys to know too, because like there was nowhere else for me to go. Like it was my mom and dad, my sisters, or bust. So we ended up transitioning into that non-denominational religion, and it was probably around the time I went into eighth grade, I think seventh or eighth grade. And yeah, it was seventh grade. Seventh grade went good, eighth grade went good, but in the middle of eighth grade, you guys, I got a boyfriend. So this is where we need to talk. One thing that you guys are going to hear in my story a lot is that I always had a serious relationship, you guys. Always, okay? I would have a boyfriend for 6 years, 5 years, 3 years. Like I always had a relationship. And it was because I wasn't okay being by myself. And I will share more about that with you guys as we go through these relationships. So, the middle of my eighth grade year, I met this guy named John Ross, and I thought that he hung the moon. Okay. So, me and John Ross started dating, and he was my first boyfriend. I remember coming home and asking my mom and dad if he could come over. Okay. So, eighth grade is what, 15 years old? Um, 14 and a half, 15 years old. So I remember my mom and dad supervising us, and I could have John Ross over and we could watch a movie, but it was only if my mom and dad were sitting in the room with us, and we weren't even allowed to like hold hands. Like it was that strict, right? Well, you guys know that wasn't going to go because Nicole is one thing that I've always been is a very affectionate person. A very sensual, loving person. And when I care about somebody and I love that person, I want to show them how much I love them. I want to make them happy, you know? And so I ended up getting around my mom and dad, and me and John Ross would go over to his house. And I remember this was the first time, you guys, I ever kissed a boy. This is the first time we didn't have sex, but we got to third, he got to third base. I'll just say that. Okay. He got to third base. So, I was still a virgin, but this was all new territory to me. And I thought that I was in love. I was so serious about this relationship. Do you remember that, Leanne? I know you guys, some people from my high school, people that I've been friends with all my life, are watching on Facebook. So they know some of the people's names that I'm saying. Yes, John Ross girl. And you know what? Sometimes I even forget to mention that because it was so long ago, but he was the first boyfriend I ever had. Now, going into ninth grade, I actually had made the Steppenwolf squad, which was like this dance slash cheer team. And one thing that I love to do, you guys, is I love to dance, and I'm good at dancing. Okay, and so um I had made the team, and we were going from eighth grade into ninth grade. Well, John Ross ended up, I don't know, cheating on me or he ended up liking this other girl. Okay. This other girl named, I think her name was Rhonda. I don't really remember. I think it was Rhonda. And I remember hating that girl with all my might. Damn, Rhonda stole my man. I'm going to whoop her ass. Okay. In eighth grade, I wanted to fight this girl. I wanted to make her life a living hell because she stole my man. Well, he ran off and went to her, and I never talked to him again. It was actually a kind of rough situation because I was so upset, and everybody in the school knew. Everybody in the school knew that he had left me for that girl, Rhonda. And so I was so embarrassed, you guys. I was so embarrassed and I was so ashamed. People were making fun of me because I had gotten played, and it was a bad situation. Now, my eighth grade year into ninth grade was tough, and I'm going to tell you guys why. So, after me and JR broke up, that year, one of my friends, her name was Bobby, had a party at her house. Okay. And I need you guys to hear me out because y'all know this is high school. This was the hard time for me. Okay. So I went to this party at Bobby's house, and everybody in school was there. Everybody. And there was one boy in particular that was there, and his name was Joel, Joel B. And he was so cute, and he liked me. I didn't know, I don't think I really liked him, but I knew he liked me. So I was, you know how that is. I was flirting. Well, we were all at this party, and we were, going behind the girl's mom's back who threw the party, Bobby's mom's back. And we were all like going into the woods and kissing each other and making out. You know what I'm talking about. It's high school. I want you guys to put yourself in high school days, okay? And so I went down in the woods with this boy, Joel, and he fingered me. Okay. I know, y'all. I know. You got to put yourself in the position, though. A little kid me. Okay. So he fingered me, and I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Like, does this mean that we're going to be boyfriend and girlfriend? Does this mean that he really likes me? Like, he's so fine. He was a football player. Like, whoo, whoo, you know? So I came back up, and I was thinking, okay, he likes me. Like, we're going to start dating, all this stuff. And so the boys left, and the girls ended up staying the night. We all stayed the night. Well, one of the girls found out about me and Joel, and she ended up liking him. And so she got all the other girls to gang up on me at the party. Okay. So I was all by myself. It was this girl named Jenny. She got her and her friends to gang up on me. And this girl named Vanessa ended up knocking my ass, pushing me down and trying to like fight me. And I remember this girl, Vanessa, she was already gay. She had already come out as gay. We were young. And I remember being so upset because they were all ganging up on me. I was crying. I was hurt, you know, and I was just like, damn, they were all making fun of me, saying that I was a hoe, saying that, you can't make just saying mean stuff about me, right? Well, I thought that was going to be all. I thought that it wasn't going to be that bad of a deal, So I got a little Tweedledee in the woods. Big deal, right? Wrong. So the next morning, my mom picked me up. I was miserable. I wish I had called her that night and told her to come get me because I was so upset. It was all these girls against me. And all it was because of is because of me and that boy did the Tweedledee. He did the Tweedledee to me in the woods. It wasn't even that big of a deal. He wasn't anybody's boyfriend. He wasn't with that other girl, Jenny. She just liked him, and they were mad because he liked me and didn't like her, right? Well, the next day, it was that was the weekend, and we started school on Monday. I know you would have, Leanne. And y'all, Leanne is in my story later on down the line, and I'll tell y'all all about her. But she's over here on Facebook watching me. But me and Leanne, we ran the school my 10th junior and senior year, but we'll get into that. So anyway, it was the weekend, so I didn't go back to school until Monday. Well, I came into school on Monday, and everybody was looking at me like I had two heads. All the people were laughing. I was going to my locker, and there was something stuck on my locker. This is important for y'all to hear this. And there was a sign on my locker that said, "You smell like rotten apples." And I was like, "What? Rotten apples?" You remember this, Leanne? Automatically, I ripped that sign off, and I was so upset. I ran into the bathroom. I was crying, right? And I remembered that weekend before I went to the party, I was on the phone with Joel and Matt and all the boys. We were all on a phone call, and I was talking to my friend Matt. And I had told Matt that I had just went and got all these really good smell goods from Bath and Body Works, and I had gotten that apple body shampoo. You know what I'm talking about, the candy apple shampoo and body wash from Bath and Body Works. And they had told Joel had told somebody had told him that, and it ended up getting down the line, and Jenny ended up making up a rumor and going around and telling everyone in the school that I smelled like rotten apples. Everyone in the school called me apples from that day forward. My whole half of my 8th grade, all of my ninth grade year, was people making fun of me and calling me rotten apples. I was so upset I didn't even want to go to school. I would come home and cry and tell my mom about it. Everybody would talk shit about me. Well, that year, my 8th grade year into my ninth grade year, I summer let up. We went to summer school or whatever it was, and I ended up going into band camp. And at band camp, you guys, I ended up dropping like 45 pounds that year. And I came back to school for my ninth grade year, and I was fucking fine. And I'm fixing to show y'all the picture. I had lost a bunch of weight. I was in shape, and I was looking good. And it was a big deal because everybody was like, "Damn, Nicole, you look great." I mean, I looked good before, but I had really come into my own. You know what I'm talking about? Like I had hit that growth spurt at that time in high school, and I was feeling and looking good, and I had that confidence. Okay. So, all these girls, let me show y'all what I looked like kindergarten through about third or fourth grade. There's me. I'm the one right here. Okay. Show you guys over here. All right. All right. So my ninth grade year, I hit that growth spurt, and I was feeling great. I had a lot of confidence, and I wasn't going to let anybody dull my shine. I wasn't going to okay, take my water. I wasn't going to let anybody affect me. Let me show you what I looked like that year. That was me on the Steppenwolves. Okay. All right. That year, you guys, I had ended up meeting this guy named Robert. Okay. Robert and me started dating, and I dated Robert for 6 years, 5.5, 6 years. Okay. Now, my ninth grade year, it went by pretty quickly. I didn't really start getting into anything that I wasn't supposed to be getting into my ninth grade year. It was really the transition from my ninth grade year into my 10th grade year where I started to drink. Okay. I started to drink and I started to smoke marijuana. All right. So before I get into that transition, let me kind of explain to you guys what was going on at home, because a lot of things were going on at home with my family. And so on top of having, struggles with school, struggles with rumors and other girls, I was also going through a lot with my personal life. So Nate, be quiet, please. That transition from the time I was like 14 to 16, my sister Michelle started getting in a lot of trouble, you guys. Were you, Holly? Hey girl, love you. My sister Michelle had started acting out very badly. She started to skip, to be promiscuous. She started to get arrested for fighting other girls at school. I mean, it was really bad, you guys. It got to the point where my sister was getting suspended from the school that I was going to. It was called Lake Hamilton, the Lake Hamilton Wolves, LHHS. Okay. And so my sister was getting suspended. I was having to go to school and get her and pull her out of classes to help her calm down. And my family, my mom and dad didn't know what was going on. At this time, my sister, when we would wake up in the morning, my sister would chase me and my sister Christine around with a butcher knife, trying to cut us up because my sister Michelle was raging. She had so much anger. Okay. My sister was losing her mind. My sister had already started to use drugs. She had started long before I ever thought about using drugs. Okay. And so, what, baby? Okay, take that and go upstairs. Love you. No, I'm busy. I'll be off in a minute. Go upstairs. Love you. Bye. Sorry about that, guys. He knows. No, you have your own phone upstairs. Go. Go.
It doesn't work.
When I come upstairs, I want my phone back, Nate. Sorry, guys. He's been such a good boy today, so I'm going to let him play on the game. So, okay, let me back up and get my thoughts together. Okay, so my sister was going through it. Okay, it was a bad time. Now, during this time, I was playing fast pitch softball. I played basketball, and I was cheering. Okay, I was doing the dance and the cheer team. My baby sister Christine was kind of just getting lost in the shuffle. My baby sister Christine was very quiet. She wouldn't say anything to like disrupt anybody. She was just watching me and my sister kind of like start to go down the wrong path. But before I ever started going down the wrong path, my sister Michelle had already been driving that path and all honey, she paved the road down the wrong way. Okay. My sister Michelle, she had already smoked, drank, did meth, had sex, everything before I ever even knew what it was. My sister Michelle, my baby sister Michelle, showed me how to get high. Okay. I had no idea what I was doing. My sister Michelle, she knew what she was doing. So I am in my ninth into 10th grade year. I'm getting acquainted. I'm getting popular at school. People know me. I have good friends. We're in the in crowd, I wouldn't say I was the most popular girl, but I wasn't a nerd or nothing. I was friends with everybody. And that's how I've always been. I've always been somebody that I hang out with everybody. I like all people. I'm a people person. But I was struggling real bad because at home, my family was breaking apart. Now, on top of my sister acting out and really getting in a lot of trouble, you guys, um, my grandpa in New York ended up passing away. Okay. Now, I remember this because my mom and dad left me and my sisters and they went to New York because they had to go bury my grandpa. Um, my mom ended up leaving me and my sisters with this lady named Nancy. Okay. Now, Nancy was a good friend of my mother's, and my mom didn't know, but Nancy was struggling with her own addiction to methamphetamine. Okay. So she wasn't using at our house or anything like that. And even if she was, I wouldn't know because I didn't understand that kind of stuff back then. Right. But something was going on. And she babysat us. And then for about a week. And then my mom and dad came back and life went back to normal, right? Yes, my sister Michelle is in recovery now too. She's sober too now. But it's a long story. Um my grandpa passed away and that was the first time I ever seen my dad cry. There was only a couple times I've seen my dad cry and it was when his dad passed away and it was when our dog Petey died. And my dad, like I said, he's not a crier. He's a very just strong, manly man. So my sister was acting out. My baby sister Christine was feeling neglected. And I knew that my mom and dad were busy with my sister Michelle. And you guys, just like I told you, I had gotten that new boyfriend, Robert. Okay. And this is my high school boyfriend. Robert was 1 year older than me and he went to Hot Springs High. And Hot Springs was like the inner city school, right? And Robert was tall, like 6'1". He had brown hair and green eyes. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I thought I was going to be with Robert forever. I really, really, really fell in love with that guy. Well, and I was also young. I was 16 and a half, almost 17. Well, while my sister was acting out, me and Robert we were doing stuff, okay? I just turned 17 and I had started to go over to his house and his mom would be there and tell my mom that everything was okay and that we could hang out and that she was going to chaperone us. Well, I lost my virginity. Okay? And I'll share that. I'll tell y'all cuz it's important for you guys to hear these parts of my story. So, I remember the first time I ever had sex. I was so scared. Y'all, I was so scared to have sex. Lord, I just knew it was going to be the most awful thing in the world. Um, I remember his bedroom. I remember the posters that were on the wall. I remember the bed, everything. Okay, so Robert's mom had this beautiful German Shepherd, and this German Shepherd was crazy as hell. It would bark all the time, right? Well, we had came in that night, and I was staying the night, and we were laying in bed, and I remember him asking me if it was okay. And so I said yes. And I remember when he started to do it, I thought it's got to be in the wrong place. That must not be where it's supposed to eat because it where it's supposed to be because it just hurts. I'm dying here, right? I had never had sex before. Okay. And so I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And then it was over. And I thought, that's what sex is? That was nothing. That wasn't even worth it. Why did I even do that? Now, y'all have to understand that I was raised up hella religious, remember? And so having sex before marriage was absolutely not cool. You're not supposed to have sex before marriage. If you have sex before marriage, you're going to go to hell. So I was so scared. I couldn't tell my mom. I couldn't tell her I had sex. She would disown me, right? And I didn't want to bother with all that nonsense anyway because she was struggling with my sister at home. So I didn't say anything to my mom and I continued to have sex with my boyfriend and of course as we had sex each time it got better and I learned how to do all that kind of stuff but the first time I ever had sex I thought this is not shit. I don't want to do that ever again. was, I was so scared, y'all. Well, me and Robert stayed together for many years. So we were together for till 2000, let me think, 2001, 2001, maybe a little bit after that. I'm not sure. In between, in that time period, y'all, my mom and dad ended up finding out that my sister Michelle was bipolar. And my mother and father had her admitted to a mental hospital here in Little Rock called the Rose Home. And this was a very hard time for my family because my sister going into this home, me and my sister Christine, my baby sister, missed Michelle so much. And we also felt so guilty that she had to go into that place and be without us. We felt like we were not good sisters and that, we blamed ourselves for my sister being having struggles. And mental health and mental illness wasn't something that anyone talked about in my family. Um, my dad, like I was telling you guys before, he's Italian, and you don't talk about your struggles. You just deal with it. You don't talk about addiction. You just quit. You just don't get high. You don't talk about your depression or your anxiety. You just handle that shit. And so we never sat down as a family and talked about how we felt or what we were going through. And so when my sister was acting out, getting arrested, fighting girls, getting high, my mom and dad had no idea what to do. They ended up taking my sister and having her put in that hospital and they ended up doing an evaluation and they found out that my sister had bipolar disorder. Okay, she had bipolar disorder along with some other things, some oppositional defiance disorder, um, just a bunch of stuff, you guys. My sister had a bunch of behavior issues, and from that day forward, my sister was in and out of juvenile jail. My sister was in and out of mental hospitals, and my sister was back and forth, in and out in promiscuous relationships. Okay. Now, this isn't my sister's story, right? But I want you guys to hear this because what happened with my sister was affecting me, but I was also kind of skirting behind my mom and dad's back while my sister was acting a fool. Okay. So at that time, my sister was getting in a lot of trouble, and I had started to use drugs. Okay. So the first time I ever got high was on marijuana. Okay. I got high with Robert and his friends. We had been at a basketball game. We got done with his basketball game and we went to his friend's house and we smoked a big fat blunt. And I remember smoking that blunt for the first time and it made me cough so much. I hated that shit. I thought, I don't like this. I mean, I'd smoke it because everybody else was smoking it, but I didn't like it. It wasn't anything that I really, really enjoyed doing, right? Well, then we started to drink alcohol. And I could drink, y'all. I love to drink alcohol. I could toss a beer back. I could get on and do a keg stand. I could down a pint of whiskey. And I liked the way I felt when I got drunk. I liked the feeling produced by alcohol. I liked being fucked up. I liked being drunk as a skunk because when I would get drunk, it made me feel confident. It made me feel pretty. It made me feel fun. And I could get up on the bar, take my shirt off, and woo, woo! I could get on and get on one of those cows that they have in the club where it's doing the bucking thing and you're riding it. I would do stuff like that. I would get on my boyfriend's shoulders at concerts and take my shirt off. And I was a I was a drunk party girl and I loved drinking. Drinking was fun to me. And it didn't bother me. I was good at it. I could drink and then I could smoke a joint, smoke a cigarette, and I thought I was having the time of my life. That was great. I had a great time drinking. Sure, I had some times where I got too drunk and I threw up all over the place or I passed out and made a stupid mistakes, right? But I enjoyed it. Okay. And drinking, I had fun doing it. All right. Well, if I had so much fun drinking, I wasn't going to just stop there, you know? And so I remember I was 17 years old the first time I ever tried cocaine. And cocaine, I liked cocaine. Cocaine was good. Cocaine gave me energy. Cocaine stopped my appetite. Cocaine made me feel good. Now, before I had ever tried cocaine, um, the year before that, I had gotten prescribed phentermine. Now, I told you guys a little bit about this the other day when I was sharing about my eating disorder and my struggles with binge eating. When I was younger, my doctor had prescribed me phentermine to help me lose weight. I ended up abusing it, and of course, he ended up not prescribing it to me anymore. But that first time I ever tried phentermine, I loved stimulants, you guys. And back in the day, you could go to the store and you could get ephedrine pills, and you could take these pills that were like speed, and they still sold them across the counter. Now they don't sell them across the counter like they used to. The real mini thins, the real speedy pills that they used to sell back in the day were like the pills that you made meth out of. They were good. And I would eat those and I would stay skinny. And what I would do is I called it the Diet Coke diet. I would eat me some ephedrine pills. I would drink me a Diet Coke and I would have me a Snickers. And that's all I would eat. And so that year that I went from ninth to 10th grade and I dropped all that weight from eighth to ninth, then I dropped all this weight from ninth to 10th. I was doing that Diet Coke, Snickers, ephedrine diet. I was Speedy Gonzalez. Okay. And so, um, me and Robert partied. Okay. Once I got into 10th grade, it was nonstop partying, you guys. Um, and my sister came out of the mental institution with a diagnosis of bipolar, and things really got rough at home. We were struggling. My family was struggling because they, my mom and dad didn't know how to help my sister. Rob, did you join on the membership? Thanks, baby. I'm putting you down too. Thanks, everybody that has joined my membership. Leanne! Leanne! You guys see that girl right there, Leanne Tuck? That is my girl. We were in high school together. Leanne, you've got to be a guest on my channel, girl. I told everybody the story. Y'all, listen to this. Leanne, guess what I told them the story? Girl, I told them the story about the time we slashed that girl's tires. Remember that? Because she gave us that fake ecstasy and you got sick. I know you remember, girl. Do you remember? Anyway, I'll have Leanne on. She can tell the stories with me because she probably remembers them better than I do. Anyway, okay. Michelle got diagnosed with a bipolar. I was partying my ass off. I had Robert, right? And my addiction was getting up there. And that's about at the time, my ninth into my 10th grade year is the time where me and Leanne we got real close because we started hanging out with each other because of the Robert, Sean, William crew. You guys, this year we were just wilding out. We were snorting meth, we were doing cocaine, we were drinking alcohol, we were partying it up. I would stay with Leanne and not come home to my mom and dad's house because, first of all, our parents knew each other. Her dad used to work with my dad at the post office, or was it your stepdad? Anyways, our families knew each other. So I could say, hey, I'm going to go over to Leanne's house. And my mom and dad weren't tripping, but they kind of were tripping. But I would lie about it. And see, Leanne got a car before I did. She had ended up getting this white Honda Civic. And I'm going to leave you guys off with this story of me and Leanne in this white Honda Civic. Okay. And then, or I might go a little bit farther. Okay. So, I'm still with Robert, and I got to be honest with you guys. Once I came into my own that 10th grade year, I started cheating on Robert. And a lot of it was because of my addiction and the drugs and the alcohol and the partying that I was doing. I didn't have respect for myself, and I sure as hell didn't have any respect for him. Um, I was partying my ass off. I almost got kicked off the cheerleading or the Steppenwolf squad. And in fact, what had happened was I went to a basketball game. And before we went to the game, I had been drinking Seagram 7 and 7 Up with this girl named Jessica. And me and Jessica and Jerry were drinking, and we went to the game because I had to cheer, and it was an away game. And I was at the game and I was cheering, and I had been drunk as a skunk off that Seagram 7 and 7 Up. And I was up in the bleachers and I went to come down and I almost fell on the coach's pregnant wife. My friend Jessica was like, oh my God, girl. So they took me in the bathroom and they were going to sneak me out the side door. So that way I wouldn't get in trouble. And as I was coming out of the bathroom to go out the side door, Principal Brooks came around the corner and grabbed me and said, you're not going anywhere. I'm calling your dad. I was so pissed. I said, my dad's gonna fuck you up, right? You, Holly, if you exit out of the chat and go to my picture, it'll show the word join in blue. Just click that. So that had happened, and here I am. Principal Brooks calls the police. And guess what happened, you guys? They took me to jail and I got a public intoxication. Now, they called my mom and dad, and my mom and dad came and they bailed me out. And at this time, I remember my mom and dad when they bailed me out for that public intox, you guys. They came. I was young. I was 17 years old, you guys. 17 years old with a public intoxication. They bailed me out, and I was laying in the back seat of my mom and dad's car crying. And that's when I told my mom and dad that my sister was doing meth and that I don't know why they were tripping on me because she was getting high. And I was trying to take the focus off me and put it on my sister because I was just as bad as my sister, if not worse. Every time I would skip school, my sister would be there or I would beat her to the punch. Okay, me and my sister were getting high together. Okay, there was times where I would go over, me and Leanne would go over to this guy named Andy's house, and we would get there, and my sister would already be there with Will, William, and Sean. And we were like, what the fuck? I remember one time my mom said, you know what? If you want to go with Robert, you have to take your sister with you. I'm not letting you go unless you guys are together. So I had to take my sister with me to guess what we went to go do. First of all, let me tell y'all, we called ourselves the Orange Street Gangster Bitches, the OSGB. The reason we called ourselves the OSGB is because the boys lived on Orange Street in Hot Springs. When I say this, I'm like, how crazy I sound. But you guys, this was like the peak of my high school. This was like the most fun I have had in high school in all my life. This was the best times of my life in high school. So I'm sharing this with you because it was fun. Okay. So we called ourselves the OSGB. Okay. The Orange Street Gangster Bitches. Okay. And so my sister had to go with us that night or that day. And we all rode up and we got in we got in William's station wagon and we drove out to these cow pastures out in Cedar Point. Okay. We went to go find shrooms underneath these cow shits. Girl, we got out there, right? We got out there, and guess what? This guy was sitting up in his thingy with his shotgun, and we got out there to go look for them shrooms, and he was get the hell off my property. And we were like, holy shit. And so we ran and we got into the back of the station wagon. Orange Street gangsters for life, bitches. You guys, we had so much fun and we were all together. Okay. So after we had done that, I think this was the night, Leanne, if you remember, where me, Leanne, my sister, Andy, Will, William, Sean, we were all over at Andy's trailer. Okay. And we had been smoking weed, we had been drinking, we had been tooting, we were just fucked up partying all night. And I had to be home that night. I had to be home. My mom would not let me stay the night with Leanne that night. And I was pissed. I remember calling my mom, please, mom, please, can I stay the night with Leanne tonight? Please. They would not say yes. So you know what we did? We had this bright idea that so I wouldn't smell like smoke, like weed smoke, that we would smoke cigarettes and they would blow the smoke all over me. I had Leanna, Andy, Robert, Will blowing cigarette smoke on me, trying to make it to where I didn't smell like a big fat joint, right? I was drunk as hell, y'all. Drunker than Cooter Brown. Leanne dropped me off, and I remember my dad came to the door and I said, Happy New Year! It wasn't even New Year's. I was so drunk and I was in so much trouble. I remember mom and dad was like, You're grounded. You're not allowed to go out anymore. That's it. We're putting our foots down. You know how that goes. And at that time, you guys, my mom and dad could say they were going to ground me and I wasn't going to listen to them. I would just go call in and we would go and we would stay in Malvern. We stayed in Malvern with these boys. We called them the Rock. One of the boys' name was Rockport Penny, and we would go down there and hang out at Malvern. Now we did have this great idea. We were supposed to go to the DMX concert. I told you guys about this. So we were getting ready to go to this DMX concert, and it ended up getting canceled. And we ended up hanging out with this guy named Big Turk. I think Miranda was with us too. Miranda and maybe even Jamie. It was like such a blur to me back then. But me and these girls, y'all, we ran hard in the paint. Okay. And we were getting it. We haven't even graduated high school yet, and we were getting it. Okay. Now, I barely graduated high school, you guys. Hey, Danny. I barely graduated. I graduated high school, y'all, with all D's. Okay. And my dad said, yeah, she graduated high school with all D's for DeMayo. My grandmother came down from New York to see me walk across the stage, and I barely passed. What a shame. What a shame. Now, all this time, all these parties, right? I'm going to school so I can skip with my friends and get high. Okay? I'm going to school, and then I'm leaving by like second period. And I'm coming home and I'm getting stoned and I'm partying and I'm staying out all night. And like I said, my senior year, I barely passed, y'all. I almost failed out of high school because I was getting so fucked up. Um, and that's when I started cheating on Robert. I started seeing boys behind his back. I started dating boys at school because he didn't go to school with me. And so we would break up and then we would get back together. And then we would break up and then we would get back together. And, you know, I've made amends to him, just so you guys know, because this is one of the things that bothered me the most, you know? Um, yes, girl, we probably have the same stories, guys. That's why I wanted to share this with you guys, because a lot of you guys a lot of y'all haven't been with me this whole year. So I told this story a long time ago, and it was 4-part series. So anyway, my high school year, my 10th, 11th, and 12th grade year were a blur. Okay. I mean, I was just getting so fucked up, you guys. And when I think back to it, I think about how did the school not notify my parents? You know, how did they not, somebody didn't step in and say anything? Like, because it was bad. It was bad. Is it keeping you sane, Chicago Dave? I'm so happy, baby. And listen, you guys, I am so grateful to tell y'all my story. And we're gonna do this, and we're gonna keep doing these story times, and we're gonna keep doing what we're doing here on Real Talk Recovery, because I told you guys I would do these recovery support group meetings, and I'm gonna keep doing it because I said I would. So I was wilding out, you guys. I was wilding out. And I was cheating on Robert, and I I was cheating on Robert, and a lot of the things that I was starting to do, you guys, were directly related to my addiction to drugs. I was becoming very promiscuous. I was just I was getting high, and I was just getting high and wilding out. Thanks, Mary Jane. Appreciate ya. I was getting really messed up, you guys, and I was really hurting people that cared about me, and I hurt Robert. And I'm happy to tell you guys that I did make amends to him, and I went back and I made amends for all the things. And he ended up telling me, you know what, girl, it's okay. We were kids, but it meant a lot to me to make that amends to him because I treated him so bad, and he was good to me. He didn't cheat on me. He wasn't like that. You know, he was a straight up dude. Now, you know, sure, I was heavily influenced by his group of friends. These boys were like the coolest guys I had ever met, you know? Um, Margie, the green symbol is the join button. You can become a member now on my channel. It's like a subscription service. It's awesome. And so we're actually going to start doing some pretty cool stuff with it, you guys. So I'm really excited. For those of you guys that have joined, I really appreciate it. So I really treated him bad, you guys, and he ended up breaking up with me. And the year he broke up with me, it was right after my senior year, right after I graduated high school. Okay. And when he broke up with me, I went into a deep depression. I went into a deep depression and I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep for a year because I felt really bad, y'all, because I knew I was wrong. I knew I was wrong for doing what I did to him, and he was a good man. I didn't sleep. I would go to sleep at night and I would cry every single night, y'all, because I would think about him and I thought about how I fucked that up because I thought that we were meant to be and I treated him bad. And I did that a lot in my relationships, you guys. I did that a lot. Just click the join button. If you go to my channel, you guys, you go to my channel where you press subscribe. There's a join button. Thank you, Erin. And I'm writing down all of you guys that join. I'm writing you guys all down because guess what we're going to do this weekend? For everyone that joins, we are going to have a members only party, and we're going to do. It's just going to be us. So it's going to be really it's gonna be cool. You'll like it, I promise. We're gonna have a good time. It'll be worth your while. I'm in the strip, baby. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. Oh gosh, I don't want to scare y'all away. Then you won't want to join. Anyway, I'm over here cracking myself up. So, okay, let me get myself focused. Okay, so I can get to a point where we can pause the story. So I graduated high school, like I said, barely graduated it, guys. And me and Robert broke up, and I was just in a bad place. I signed up to go to college. Now, my sister Michelle had ended up getting kicked out of the school that we were going to. And she ended up started to go to a different school, and she met a guy there named Paul. And my sister got pregnant. I remember when my sister got pregnant, she was 16 years old, and my whole family, like, we didn't know what to do. My mom didn't know what to do. My dad didn't know what to do. Of course, my sister went ahead and she had the baby, and she had her baby, and she named him Nick, and he's the best thing that ever happened. Nick, my little nephew, um, he's such a smart boy. Nicholas ended up having Asperger's, and for those of you guys that don't know, Asperger's is like a highly functioning autism. And if you wouldn't even know, because my nephew is just so smart, but when he was born with the umbilical cord wrapped around his neck. And I was actually working for Shoe Carnival, and I took a break so I could go see my sister have her baby because, like I was telling you guys, me and my sister are thick as thieves. Okay, thick as thieves. And she gave birth to Nicholas, and we were so worried. And he ended up having um, seizures, you guys. He ended up having seizures, and that's how, like, what happened was he wasn't talking. Um, or when he was getting older, he wasn't talking, and my mom and dad were concerned because we didn't know what was going on, right? Because he wasn't progressing, um, hitting his milestones. He wasn't hitting his milestones. And so my mom and dad were really worried. And my sister, you guys, when my sister got pregnant, she stayed sober, and she turned her whole life around. When she got pregnant, she dropped the drugs, and she was the best mother, and she was doing so good. Her husband he ended up cheating on her, and they ended up getting a divorce because they got married. When my sister and her husband got divorced, my sister went into a really bad depression. She got stopped taking her bipolar medication, and my sister relapsed on drugs. Now my sister is relapsed. My nephew is like 1.5, 2 years old, and I'm getting high too. And so now me and my sister have joined forces, and we are getting high together. My sister had her own apartment, so I stayed with her, and I would go over there, and I'd be high on meth, and I'd bring her dope, and we'd get high together, and it just got crazy. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of just leave off there. I'm going to stop there because I don't want to keep you guys held hostage all night, because I'll make this a 2-hour long video, y'all. But so we're just going to stop and say that we got to me graduating. Oh, Misty, I thought you were already a member, girl. Thanks, Misty. I'm putting you down. All right, so let's see who all we got. Oh, I already have you down. Okay, thank you to all my members that have joined. Let me shout all of you guys out real fast, okay? So for everybody that has joined my membership, these are the new members of the channel. For those of you guys that are wondering, what is a membership? How do I become a member? Okay, a membership is a subscription, okay? It's you paying a monthly subscription to support my channel, okay? The first level is $1.99. That level is the Recovery Soldiers. The second level is $4.99, and that's Recovery Warriors. And the third level is Recovery Veterans, and that's $9.99. Okay? Whatever membership level you join, okay? I have made a private members only chat, okay, for all of us to hang out and chit chat with each other, all right? And then I've also am going to be doing members only live streams, okay? And then we're also going to be doing shout outs for members only, and you guys will be listed, as members like you are now, all right? And basically, it's just going to be like you with me, and we'll be one-on-one, and we can all talk to each other, and we can be in that chat, which is just like an added perk, is what they call it, a perk. So if you do join my membership, let me tell you guys how much I appreciate it. It is not a requirement. You do not have to join, so don't feel pressured to join. But if you do join, okay, it is a way to support me and my channel, and I really do appreciate it. Okay, it's right below the video. If you're on an iPhone, I think it might be like a weird situation, but let me shout out my members. So, shout out to Rosie. Thank you so much for becoming a member, girl. I appreciate you. Shout out to Alicia. Thank you so much for becoming a member. I love you, girl. Shout out to Jackie. Thank you so much for becoming a member. I love you. Shout out to Botanical Romance. If y'all haven't checked out her channel, she has a channel called Botanical Romance. Shout out to you, girl. Shout out to Sky Love with 11 days sober. Proud of you, sis. Shout out to Avery Jack Black. Just got out of treatment, started Suboxone. Proud of you, baby girl. Shout out to Dwight, new member of the Real Talk Recovery family, and he became a member. Shout out to you, Dwight. He's been kicking it with us for the last week, and he's been enjoying the live streams, and so we just came right in and got in where he fit in. Shout out to Misty Johns. Misty, shout out to Misty, you guys. And I want to push Misty up because Misty's going to be hitting a year sober. She went through a really hard time the last couple of months, and now she's back in the family. All right. Shout out to Merk, my road dog. Merk is my right-hand man. Merk is the one who's doing our Zoom meetings in our Discord. Merk is the one who is front and center on these chats doing links for me. So if you're somebody who has a channel and Merk's in the chat, he goes out of his way to link your channels. He's just a good dude. He helps me out a lot, and I appreciate it a lot. Shout out to Mama Kenny, aka Melissa. Shout out to Brandon. Brandon's been with me for a long time. He's been here since my channel started. So thank you so much, Brandon, for joining and becoming a member. I appreciate you. Shout out to Rob for becoming a member. I love you, man. Rob is also a new member to the channel. He's been with me about a month now, and he is doing amazing. He is tapering off of benzodiazepines, and he is part of the family. Then we got Erin. She just joined today. Thank you so much, Erin. I appreciate you, girl. It means the world to me. Okay. All right. So I think that's everybody that I needed to shout out for today. And then, of course, you guys, like, everything that you guys do to help me, it does not go unnoticed. I want you guys to know, like, absolute full transparency. Like, everything that I do here on my channel, I do it because it helps me stay sober. You know, um, I just appreciate it. Y'all have really changed my life. Having this channel has helped me stay sober. Hey, Stacy, what's up, girl? Having this channel has helped me stay sober. It has changed my life. It helps me stay accountable. Okay. And my main mission here is to help people not feel alone. Okay. I remember when I first got on Suboxone, I felt so ashamed. I felt so embarrassed. I felt like I felt like my recovery wasn't good enough. I felt like it wasn't valid. Right. And so I started this channel because I wanted to support other people who were struggling, who were on maintenance, who needed to support, who wanted to feel like they were a part of. And since starting my channel, you guys, it has changed my life. You guys have changed my life. You guys help me stay sober every single day, and I want you guys to know how much I appreciate y'all. Y'all help me. And shout out to my patrons too. Well, here's the thing. I got my patrons and I got my members now. So it's like you can join on Patreon or you can join them on the members. It's just whatever one you guys want to do. They're basically the same thing. Just, they're basically the same thing, but it's just two different ways to join. So yeah, Dave. You know what they're doing? Let me shout out to Mara real fast. Medication Assisted Recovery Anonymous is a fellowship for men and women that utilize science based medication in their recovery, and they're actually facilitating Zoom meetings now. So if any of you guys are at home and you're on methadone or you're on Suboxone and you can't come here and hang out with us, but you want to get to a meeting, all you have to do is go to marainternational.org, click the link, and there is Zoom meetings available there. Okay, so check that out. They're trying to do more stuff so that way there will be more options for everybody. Yeah, marainternational.org. That's right, Dwight. You guys, and listen to me. I am so glad that we're all, you know what I feel like? I feel like this quarantine has helped us all. I feel like it has brought us all together. I feel like we are all able to support each other, and it's given us a chance to step back and really not take things for granted. We're all here together. But I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's meeting. We'll continue the story. I think I'll do part two. We won't do it tomorrow. We'll do it on another day, though, so that way it's not so back to back. But tomorrow night, we'll do something special. If any of you guys want to come on and tell your story, send me a message to that cell phone number right there, 501-991-5149. If any of you guys have any ideas for topics for the meetings that you want to talk about, just send me a message and we'll do a topic. Anything y'all want to do, let me know and we'll do it. Okay. I love you, Leanne. I love you so much, you guys. And Leanne, I really want you to come on and we can do a video together because it'll be so much fun and it'll just be like your point of view. Because Leanne was with me when I got really bad on drugs, and she's seen me go downhill. And then I basically broke away from that group of friends because I started shooting up. And so maybe she has a different perspective. Because, see, I remember things differently, and maybe she remembers them a different way. So I would love to have you on the channel to just share your experience, Leanne, of what it was like being my friend and seeing me go down that road. How it affected you, what you thought, and all that stuff. How you stayed away from, going down that road because Leanne was right there with me, y'all, getting high and everything, but she took a turn and didn't go the same way I did. And I don't know how she did it because we were right there beside each other, bam, 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 getting messed up. And then she went on her way and started getting her life together. And I know what happened when your brother passed away. That really made a change for you. So rest in peace. My Leanne had a brother. His name was Alan, and he ended up passing away. And so I think that was probably a big changing factor for you, huh, Leanne? Maybe you can come on and talk about that one night. I would love to have you as a guest. So text me, girl, so that way I can have you on the channel. That would be so cool. It would help people too. All right, you guys. So I'll let you guys go because if I don't, it's going to be 2 hour long live stream. Okay. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for supporting me. And if any of you guys are struggling, um, anything at all, do not be ashamed to reach out to me. If you're embarrassed to talk, just text me. Text me. It's not even a big deal. I love talking to you guys. Just reach out for help. I'll do anything I can to help you. Anything. All right. I love you guys. Have a great night. I'll see y'all tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time.